What happened? Okay, I'll hit record and then I'll go back and you guys can tell me where we were at when it stopped working for you guys. Slide 37, thank you.
We were at the very end where you were dismissing us.
Nice try. Let's see here.
I give that a solid 4 out of 10.
We're actually quite close, so. Okay. Did you get any of this slide before it died?
We were talking, I think we'd gotten to examples, like you had just discussed the exam, or just mentioned the 3 examples of directory.
All right, so it did just die mid-speech. Okay. So I've used Active Directory and Open LDAP. I have not used 389 Directory Server, but that doesn't mean you aren't going to run into it out there. All these options are built to be LDAP compliant. LDAP lightweight directory access protocol, standard protocol for accessing an existing directory, and AD is configured to use the Kerberos protocol. And this is just an example of kind of what an AD looks like, or directory looks like. Kerberos is cross-platform authentication protocol that uses key encryption to verify client identity and to securely exchange information after the client logs on. Kerberos is an example of a private key encryption service. Terms related to Kerberos include principal, KDC, and ticket. So KDC is Key Distribution Center. And Kerberos servers run 2 services: the authentication service, which initially validates a client; ticket granting service, which is an application running separate from the AS that also runs the KDC. TGS alleviates the need for the client to request a new ticket from TGS each time it wants to use different service on the network. So this is just an example of a Kerberos server and how it functions with the ticket granting service. So SSO is a form of authentication in which a client signs on one time to access multiple systems for resources. I can guarantee that you've all used it because you've used the university's resources, which use an SSO. The primary advantage of SSO is convenience. The biggest disadvantage is that once authentication is cleared, the user has access to numerous resources. So if you mess up and someone gets your password, they now have access to everything that you have access to with that SSO logon. 2FA or two-factor authentication scenario, users provide something known and something you can have, like a fingerprint, or you just have to have 2 different types of authentication, or there's multi-factor authentication, which requires 2 or more pieces of information. Now, I highly recommend using 2-factor authentication. One of my favorites is a really long password, and then the Google, the rolling authenticator app is a good one to use because that stays on there. Okay, 5 categories of authentication factors. Now, there used to be 3, then it went to 4, now we're up to 5. So I can guarantee that these 5 categories of authentication factors you will run into on certification exams. So there's something you know, that's your password or PIN, something you have to remember, something you have, that's your physical thing like an ATM or smart card, something you are, fingerprints, facial patterns, iris scans, that's your biometrics, some where you are, location in a specific building, that's your geofencing, geolocation data, and something you do. Specific way you type or speak. There's also gait recognition, which are the ones for walking. There's all sorts of other things that they do. Now, something you do is not as frequently used, and some where you are. The top 3 are more frequently used. The bottom 2 are used more specifically in higher security ones. Number 4, the somewhere you are was started by the military. You see that a lot more in military and the big 3-letter agencies. And the Something You Do was also started by a lot of those as well. MFA requires at least one authentication method from at least 2 different categories. A security token is a device or application that stores or generates information known only to its authorized user. Okay. Radius, which is Remote Authentication Dial-In User Service, is a cross-platform open source standard. It runs in the application layer and can use either UDP or TCP in the transport layer. It can operate as an application on remote access server or on dedicated Radius server. Radius is highly scalable and can be used to authenticate wireless, mobile, and remote users. Radius services are often combined with other network services on a single machine. So this is an example. You have your Windows desktop uses LDAPs, Active Directory, drops down, here's your Radius server access point, and that's just an example. Yeah, there's a lot of people that use Radius. And it's one that you will see people start to go away from. TACACS, Terminal Access Controller Access Control System Plus. I highly recommend you just call it TACACS Plus. Offers the option of separating authentication, authorization, and auditing capabilities. TACACS Plus differs from Radius in that it does the following. It relies on TCP, not UDP, at the transport layer. Proprietary protocol developed by Cisco's is typically used to authenticate to network devices such as routers and switches rather than workstations or servers. It's most often used for device administration access control for technicians, and it encrypts all information transmitted for AAA. Yeah, it's one of those ones that it's like super long, and it's just better to know what it sounds. So yeah, calling air support TACACS. Yeah, no, it does sound like that, doesn't it? But yeah, it's one of those ones you just want to know how to say it shortly without having to do that. Okay. Second knowledge check. Which authentication protocol is optimized for wireless clients? Radius, Active Directory, TACACS Plus, or Kerberos? Okay, I think you guys have got this one. Good job. Yeah, I didn't think this module would be that difficult for you guys to understand. Okay, sorry about the network dump in the middle of that, but hopefully you guys got everything. This will be going up in 2 parts, unfortunately, because it stopped and saved as 2 separate parts when it recorded. Yeah, hey, you know what? I've got new neighbors moving in next door. Lord knows what they're doing. It is possible that they are pulling new cabling for them. That could be part of what's going on. Crypto mine there, yeah. Well, whenever I have a neighbor move in, I do always scan to see what they do with their Wi-Fi, because I don't want someone else to come over and be like, hey, I'm just going to sit in front of this house and take their Wi-Fi. So if they've got really terrible Wi-Fi security, I'll tell them, you guys need to fix this, and here's how to fix it, because I don't want people to sit in front of my house and do that. So, yep. Yeah, and I will move. Well, actually, my Wi-Fi does say something about surveillance van number something or other on my Wi-Fi. So. But yep. And I actually work across the street from someone that works for the FBI, so that's actually kind of funny. But okay, so is there anybody that has any questions on what we just went through? SSO, anything else? Everybody good? Any questions about this one? Is that what you're talking about? Aha. Do you know the language in Star Wars that you see on the back of all the signs? That's it.
Nerd.
Yep. I do have a funny story about that. One of my former boss, Kevin, whenever he plays like PvP stuff, he'll yell, "Get wrecked, nerd!" And yes, there you go. Thanks, Nick. It's Arabesh. Well, he was running through his house. He's got 2 sons, and you never realize what your kids pick up from you. Well, he ran through the house and just barked his shin on a table, and his son, who's like 5, yelled, "Get wrecked, nerd!" at him. So, yeah, he said, I won't lie, I was really mad for a second. So, yeah, I know, I laughed really hard and was like, I have to tell you, that is probably the funniest thing I've ever heard. But okay, so if you don't have any questions, if you've got everything going for your project and your group, that is it for our lecture for tonight. Go work on your projects. Tomorrow we are doing chapter 12. Thursday we are doing our projects. Friday is retake. Okay. You guys have a good night. If you can get out in the sunshine, go enjoy the sunshine for a while, and then go do some studies. Okay. Guys, have a good night.
Hey, Miss Ash, I do have a quick question.
Yep. What's up?
My boss actually wanted me to ask you this. So currently my work basically pays for my CSEC Plus recertification. In order to do that, I need to get like 50 credits or something of recertification stuff. And she wanted me to ask you if any of these classes count towards that.
For
It's like-
CSEC Plus recert?
Yeah.
Do you already have the Security Plus recert?
Yep.
Well, I will give you some good news. If you already have the Security Plus recert, unless you want to retake it for a new one, there's a PDF thing that you can fill out and get the money back for it.
Okay.
During the next year, but I am not sure on that. You know who you could ask? Do you remember Maddie that came to our class?
Yeah.
Do you have her email address? Still, I can send it to you if you don't.
I believe so.
Okay, email her because she should have what does and does not count for that for the military personnel.
Okay, sounds good.
So, and if she doesn't know, let me know and I can ask my department chair.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
No problem. Have a good night.